everybody. Hi. Thank you. Hi. Thank you so much for coming. This looks beautiful. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody who's here.
It's really quite the packed house, Prajakta. So congratulations.
I'm so grateful.
What
Thank
a
you.
moment to be on the front lawn of Jaipur Literature Festival, launching your debut novel. And it's barely been a couple of weeks, and already HarperCollins tells me they've shipped over 110,000 copies, which is incredible. So a big round of applause for that.
Thank you.
It almost seems too good to be true.
It does, 100%.
But I have to say, when you read this sweet, funny, heartfelt romance, you can see why it's flying off shelves. This may be Prajakta's debut novel, but she's an expert storyteller, creating content through her handle Mostly Sane, over 7 million followers on YouTube and over 8 million on Instagram. And she's also an actor, most recently in Mismatched, a television show based on a novel. So I'm very excited to be in this conversation today, and I know everyone is waiting to hear about your journey, so I'm going to get right to it. I read somewhere that you only read your first romance novel a few years ago. So I'm curious to know which one it was, and can you tell me how that led you to writing your own?
The first, which is just strange. I've been reading books all my life, but so I always say this, I hit my book puberty very late in life because I read my first romance novel at the age of 28, which was 3 years ago. I'm 31 now. It was Set on You by Amy Lear. I was at Delhi airport. I was very early for a flight, and I was like, my Kindle had died. So I picked it up, and it looked like one nice, innocent cover. Has anybody read Set on You here? You have. So you know what, you're right? Dude, the locker room scene. Right?
I think I need to read this
You
book
need
now.
to read it. So I remember sitting at my gate just very, very stunned, where nobody was with me, but I kept hiding it. But I was like, can everybody read what I'm reading? And I didn't even know we were allowed to do it. That was where it started. I'm over 207 books now, back to back since then, and I haven't stopped, and I'm obsessed with romance. But I've always wanted to write romance even before I started reading these books, because I've always loved romance in my movies, in my music, in general, in life. I was very, very happy when Mismatched came to me, and when I found out that it's based on Sandhya Menon's When Dimple Met Rishi, which is a romance novel. The fact that I get to be the female main character of a romance novel adaptation was very, very special for me. But yeah, it's all kind of come together with this.
So tell me, you talk about how you hit your book puberty later, but what were the books that impacted you before, like before the romance novel?
Many. I mean, I obviously started with the Tinkles and the Archies and the Chanda
Lovely
Mamas
Archies.
and the Chacha Chaudharys. I remember in my 9th grade, I mean, obviously then moved on in school with the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drews and Secret Sevens and Famous Fives. In my 9th grade, my mom gifted me my first copy of The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, and I think that has impacted me in ways that I don't think I can still put into words completely. I think if you haven't read, I'm pretty sure everybody's read it. It's beautiful. And then in the past few years, there's always been these books that kind of stood out as peaks of intrigue and interest and curiosity. For me, Norwegian Wood by Murakami was one of them.
Beautiful book.
A Princess Remembers by Rajmata Gayatri Devi was one of them, which is also why Jaipur is very, very special to me. I've also been here because my nani is from Hindon, so I've grown up a lot here. Every time I would be here in vacation, during my vacations. The Last Queen by Chitra Banerjee. Everything by Chitra Banerjee. I think An Unsuitable Boy by Karan Johar. I think that was also a beautiful autobiography. Lots of them, I think, slowly, steadily. And then I started reading romances, and now that's just a rabbit hole I fall into.
There's no turning back. There's no turning back. You are also the star of Mismatched, like we said, which is based on a 2017 romance novel. So how has that experience influenced you as a writer in any way? Because, of course, you see the adaptation going from a novel to the screen. Had you read the book before you got the show? Or, has there been moments that you feel like you've added to the character as well because of your interest in romance and romance writing?
Not really. When I started shooting Mismatched, I had not read any romance books at that time. I had not read Sandhya Menon's book. I actually read her book after the first season came out, because as a viewer, I was like, I want to know how it ends, like what happens next. The book kind of ended in the 2nd season, and then the writers have taken it ahead in the 3rd one. But for me, I am not very good at multitasking, so it's not like if I am at a job, I can think about the other job. Honestly, for me, it was always very, if I'm on set shooting, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not very good at like juggling like that between the two. But not really, no, none of that, because I also started writing in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
So recently, it's surprising to me that you say you're not good at multitasking because your resume and your work would prove otherwise, but it's very interesting. So of course, what you're known for is your content creation. Like I said, you have 17 million strong in your community, so many who are obviously here today. So you were an actor, you work closely with several organizations on key causes, and you're also an author. So when do you write? Because I think this is everybody I've spoken to today, and even before, all authors are, you know, we always talk about finding that time and sort of locking yourself in a cave away from the outside world to be able to put words on a page. So when do you write? What is your writing process? What did you discover about yourself while writing this book?
I mean, I tried to do the whole like must put an hour of writing every single day. But like you said, because my days are so different from each other, there's never really a schedule that I stick to. So it's not like I could go through writing like, okay, nahi, everything else has to be on hold. I have to finish this for 4 hours today and then I move on. Also, I came to realize that when I did try doing that, it's the unpredictability of it, as exciting as it is for me, would also kind of turn me off from writing, because I was like, how do I plan anything around this? I don't know what's going to happen. There were days when I would write 3 chapters in a day, and then there were 3 days when I wouldn't write a single word. That's when I told myself that what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it 1 chapter at a time. So the creative process was basically, before I started writing the book, I knew how it would start and how it would end. I knew my characters and their life stories and backstories and stuff like that. But everything else I've just taken 1 chapter at a time. It's also a very, very daunting task. I don't believe I've gone through this and now I'm here and the book is out. And like every time I see someone holding it, like it's very, very, it's a very jarring vision for me because I don't know how to process it in my head yet. So I would tell myself that I will write 1 chapter. And I'll not get up till I finish that chapter. I could write it badly and I'll work on it again the next day, but I'll not get up till I finish it. And I think 1 chapter at a time is how I ended up kind of getting through the whole book.
Is that the advice you would give to someone who wants to write a book? Just do it 1 chapter at a time?
I think so. I mean, as someone who's only written 1 book, don't take advice from me. I mean, you're at JLF. There's a lot of people who'll give you really good advice. But if I had to say something that I learned, it's just that. I think just taking that little step helped me.
Helped you. I want to go back to talking about your characters. So you said you had the beginning, you had the end. You, of course, had your characters in mind. How did you zero in on these characters? Of course, you know, I think it was your mom. I saw an interview where she said that, was it your mom who said that when she's reading the first few pages, she kept thinking this is you. She kept thinking Avni is you. She's like, I have to reconcile the fact that it's not. So are there similarities? Is she right? Like, how did you zone in on her character and his character?
Yeah, I mean, it was inevitable that a lot of characters would have a lot of me in them. It's my first book. I'm obviously going to lean on things that are the lowest hanging fruit for me, especially with Avni's character. I think the most we are similar in is all the internal dialogue that goes on with her. I think that's something
which was so funny, by the way. It was one of my favorite parts of the book. I thought her internal monologue was just really funny.
Monologue, that's right. Wrote a book. But internal monologue. Dude, I've done so many interviews all morning. I've been saying internal dialogue this whole time.
It's fine. Everyone gets what you mean.
Damn it. That is something that I resonate with. But also when I'm working on characters, what I find beautiful and what's exciting to me is really finding the very simple, ordinary traits about them. I'm not someone who gets very excited about like, ooh, quirks. And you know, this is very iconic to this character. There's this thing that she always says, or there's this thing that she always does. I don't find that very exciting, but I like characters that feel like you and me and everybody who reads it, because I think it's easier for me to get the reader to feel what my character feels if they relate to them. So it was actually quite simple, especially in Avni's case. And Aman, well, after reading 207 romance novels and falling in love with a book boyfriend every time I picked one up, was right there.
And also, of course, the one similarity is the jhumkas. I see you're wearing a lovely pair of jhumkas today.
Thank you.
And those of you who've read the book, you know that at one point, Aman tells Avni that I figured out your moods based on the size of the jhumkas that you're wearing, which I thought was quite a lovely
Thank you.
thing to bring in.
Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about going back to Avni's character, her monologue, she has a self-awareness which is really refreshing. And was that deliberate for you, that you wanted to show a woman kind of taking control of her life and her romantic interests, and not sort of just going along with what is expected of her? Was that
100%, but also that's most women I know.
Yes.
In my immediate
Yeah.
circle and the friends and my family. I think I'm it's not exciting to me to have an ideal woman character whose ideals are not written by a woman. You know what I mean? Any character being expected to do anything kind of doesn't make sense, because then it's fiction.
Yeah.
Why are we sticking to anything that is expected or seen or believed or wanted? So anytime I was working on Avni, I wasn't really coming from a place of making her path breaking. I was actually coming from a place of making her normal. Of making her extremely regular. I mean, we've got a bunch of beautiful women in the audience today, and if you were to ask them, would you not want your dreams to go through, and would you not do whatever you have to do to make sure that you get them, or would you not set these rules for yourself, would you not work very hard for it? And the answer would be a very, very loud yes, is what I'm guessing. So I didn't really look at it as a way of proving a point. It was actually just a very normal character for me.
It's also your way of talking about it, right? It's a fascination I have, and it's something I like to write about, is women coming into their own in a modern world, whether it's with romance or work or family, I think. And it's when you see it around you, it obviously feeds into the narrative that you're working on. I want to go back also to romance tropes, since you've read over 200 books. Do you have a particular favorite?
Oh, yeah, enemies to lovers is my jam, dude. Like, I'm obsessed, right? The tension, I love it. Yeah. I love it. There's a show that I am writing, which is based on an enemies to lovers trope. And I was just like, I was so stuck. I was like, should I make this a book or should I make it a show? And then in my head, I was like, Prajakta, it took you a year and a half, almost 2 years to release a book. Yeah. This has to be a little faster. So I kind of made a show out of it. But enemies to lovers, 100%.
Yeah, that's a good one, I have to say. I have to say that mine is always the mismatched. The ones that are completely opposite.
Opposites attract.
Opposites sort of attract, and then they're forced into this situation where the tension is just,
I really, like, after reading, like, Spanish Love Deception, I really, really wanted to, I really wanted to be obsessed with Marriage of Convenience. Yeah. But I was like, no.
Well, Marriage of Convenience in India has, a lot of different connotations. Let's just say, we have a problematic history with that.
Yeah. So that didn't quite sail well. But Enemies to Lovers is... I also like Grumpy Sunshine.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Opposites attract in a way, right? Yeah, I have to say. Okay, so I want to go back to storytelling, because, of course, you've written a book, and I read somewhere again that you had started this in the lockdown, and you had ideas that you were looking to adapt. Yeah. So how did you feel that this was a better medium in form of a book as opposed to a show that you were pitching?
I didn't actually. So like I said, I was working on one of the other show. There was one more movie, and there was this idea. This one I found beautiful because of how ordinary and simple it was.
Yeah.
So I told the team, I said, let's not put a writer's room together. Let me see what I can do with this. A book wasn't even in the radar of my plans, honestly. But I had never written screenplay before. I had not made story decks. I had never made storyboards, pitch documents, Bibles, none of that. The only medium of writing that I knew, or any kind of expression that I knew when it came to putting pen to paper, was journal entries or blog posts.
Right.
So I started writing the story as excerpts, and I was like, maybe then I'll get someone to help me make this into a screenplay or make this into a Bible. A few excerpts in, the team was like, this sounds a lot like a book.
Yeah.
I was like, it does. And they're like, do you want to try what you can do with it? So the first thing I did was I announced it on my YouTube channel, because I was like, if I don't announce it, there'll be no accountability. Then it'll be one of those things I started 6 years ago but never completely got through. And that's how it began. I never thought I had the guts to write a
out.
book.
No, it's a very difficult thing, and I think
Yeah.
accountability. I think most people don't realize that besides the discipline that it takes to get into a chair every day to write, like you're saying, it's also about being accountable. So
Yeah.
I can understand why the announcement, because
Yeah.
otherwise there's no deadline,
Yeah,
and it'll
yeah.
just keep going.
It can like keep going for it. It'll go forever.
Yeah.
It'll never stop.
How do you talk? I want to talk about storytelling because that's such an important part of content creation, right? And I look at content creators like yourself, and I'm always amazed because, it's hard enough to work on an idea for a long term, that you have to write 250 pages and keep that idea going, and it's hard. I think it's harder to put that content and that storytelling out every single day and keep reinventing yourself or tapping different parts of yourself. So how do you approach that? And how have you, because you've been doing this now for nearly a decade, right?
Yeah. Actually, in the lockdown, when I did start writing on working on new ideas, the point of working on them was that I wanted to do long form content. I wanted to make shows and write movies and pitch it to directors. And if you know any good one, let me know.
I'll keep it in mind.
Or take it to production houses, OTT platforms, kind of do that. So that was always the plan. So the longevity of it was not something that was daunting for me because I always knew what I was getting into. I think just like I said, the unpredictability of delivery is what really threw me off. Because when I started writing in the March of 2023, I told HarperCollins, I said, July, I'll give you the book. And they were like, July? I said, yeah, you'll have the first draft in July. I gave it in the April of the following year. So the fact that there was no way I could time this, plan this, have any kind of schedule around this was what was challenging for me. And then, of course, it's the writing.
Because you realize that the first draft is the vomit draft, and it's not something you can actually submit after a point. Yeah.
And I remember submitting a draft because I was way past my deadline. So I remember submitting a final chapter, which I didn't like at all. But I submitted because I was like, I'm really, really late in this, and I can't kind of not do it. And maybe that was a good thing because I needed everyone who read it to read and tell me that it's a bad ending. Or a bad way of telling the ending that I wanted the ending to be, which pushed me in actually being okay with writing and finishing it the way that I did.
That you had planned. Can you tell me, is there anything besides obviously the time that you found challenging about the process of writing?
I read this quote somewhere where someone said that writing is not difficult, sitting down to write is difficult.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that. It's nothing like anything I have done before. Also, because isse pehle, every time I was writing anything, it was for me. It was a very personal way of self-expression. Every time I have written, I have journaled, I have whatever posted on my blogs, it has always been a very, very personal thing. So even though I've been oversharing on the internet for a decade now, I think this is the most I've bared myself. So I think that was quite nerve-wracking.
It is quite an intimate experience. Going back to your internet, I ask you how do you look at your storytelling through a new lens all the time? How do you decide what you want to share on YouTube versus Instagram? You've obviously grown and evolved as a person over the last decade. So how do you keep reinventing that content or revitalizing or showing different parts of yourself?
I think I depend a lot on the engagement that I have with my audience. I also feel extremely grateful for the fact that I've said this everywhere I go. I have the best audience. I don't think I would have the guts to do what I'm doing if I didn't have the kind of audience that I have. The community that we've built online is so dependable for me. I will keep going back to them for feedback, and they will be very, very honest with it. They are as much my strongest critics as much as they are my loudest cheerleaders. And I think I depend on them a lot when it comes to that. And they actually, in the past 10 years, have just become that guiding light for me to know which direction to move in every now and then.
So, it's interesting that you talk about this community that you've built because, honestly, it's a writer's dream or anybody's dream. But I just worked on a piece where I talked about how authors now have to build a community of their own. They have to find new ways of putting their books out there to sort of stand out. And it was interesting to me that you released a music video and a song with the book. Why did you feel this was the way you wanted to put your book out there, when you already have the community, you had an easy access, why did you choose this and how did it come about?
I also, as much as I'm aware of the fact that I have the community, I also know that a huge chunk of my audience were not readers. You know what I mean?
I hope we're going to change that after this.
I really hope. But they were not, and I knew that. Because a lot of times when I would meet them during live sessions or when I would talk about books, a lot of the comments or the DMs would be, Prajakta, can you tell us how do we make reading a habit? Or how do, I can't get through books. Like, I can't sit through anything. Like, I have not enjoyed reading ever. How do I get through? And they were very, very frequent. So I knew that although I have this community online, it expects a very different kind of content delivery from me. This is a very, very new territory for me. Number two, I've always found music to be a beautiful vehicle for any kind of communication to go through. I've always thought that I know that a lot of my audience doesn't read books, but I know they listen to music. So if there is any kind of callback every time a song plays to you saying, oh, this is from Prajakta's book, I think it's okay.
It's that instant memory.
Yeah. And as a reader, do you all also do it? Because I do it very often. I depend a lot on my playlist. Do you all play music when you're reading?
Yes.
Right? So, and that almost always enhances the experience for me.
Yeah.
In my head, I will write down little notes about songs that I think work with books that I've read.
Yeah.
So I always wanted like a theme song. Also, it's like putting pictures in a novel.
Yeah.
Like the minute you put visuals to it, I feel like it's even more intriguing.
The association.
Yeah.
Do you write with music or do you write in silence?
I can't write with music. I can only read with music. But that also has to be like far away, but you have to play a little bit.
They have to be played. Do you have a favorite musician or current favorite? I wouldn't say.
I am obsessed with this Nepali musician. His name is Sushant Kesi.
Mm-hmm.
Have you all heard his music? Please listen to him. He is so good. Even if you don't understand the language, I think you should still listen to him. I think Sushant. A lot of artists from Nepal actually I'm obsessed with, and I also listen to a lot of Mitras.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit. You talked about how you would be, you're meeting the community and you've been on this big book roadshow, right? So what has been the most surprising part of the reaction to the book, or what could be something someone has said to you, or what's been the highlight?
I think two of my favorite things to hear are, one of them is that this book helped me get out of a reading slump, which I take as a win. And number two is that this is the first book I'm reading, which is just very, very
lovely.
Which is lovely
Yeah.
for me. But I was like, I really hope that this is first of the many, many, many that you read.
Mm.
But the most surprising thing, now, as a creator, I'm very grateful to my audience, but I know that their way of support doesn't have to go beyond anything. There is no expectation beyond a like or a comment, and they are very, very generous with it. But the minute it's a meet and greet, the minute it's a book signing, the minute it's a bookstore visit, you have to get out of your wherever you are, your bed or your couch, take a shower, wear jeans,
Yeah.
step out. You know what I mean? Like take your car, your scooty, your bus, your train, whatever, travel all the way, stand in queue. That is asking a lot.
It's an effort.
It's a lot of effort. It is a lot of effort. So the most surprising part of the book tour for me has been how much effort my audience has actually put.
That they've shown up for you.
That they show up for me.
And as authors, that's all you want, is people
That's
to
all,
show
yeah,
up and
honestly.
to read.
I am, every city I go to, every time I enter, you know how that sound comes in your brain?
Yeah.
When you're like nervous and you don't know what to think and you're breaking down a little bit inside and you're trying to like process everything. That's me every day.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that in my head right now. So
Yeah, I don't blame you. This is something. But I want to ask you also, what's next for you? Can we expect another book now that you've done this experience? Like, what are you working on? Share with us all that's exciting in your life at the moment.
I was actually waiting for Too Good to Be True to come out because I wanted to see how you like the universe.
Yeah.
If it's accepted, if the characters are liked, what is the kind of response that the situations and the settings and the overall storyline is having. Luckily, touch wood, it's been very encouraging. So there will be a second one, yes.
Oh, a sequel. So I'll see you here next year, the year after.
I mean, if I finish it, that is. But yeah, in the books zone, that's that.
And what else? What about otherwise? What are you working on? I'm sure everyone would love to hear. What's exciting you?
I've got a show coming up on Prime Video. It's called Andhera. Do we have any supernatural or thriller fans? Okay, good. So it's a supernatural thriller, and it's very different from anything I've done, but it's quite exciting. I am excited for it. So that's up. I also wrapped another show, which was again very special. So hopefully soon. And before you ask, I don't know when season 4 of Mismatch is coming out. I'm waiting to hear. I promise you will know as soon as I know.
And can you tell me what you have on your to-be-read pile? Do you have any authors or books that you've been wanting to read?
One book that I've been meaning, I really want to start reading Samsara. Everybody's talking about Samsara. Have you read Samsara? Right? Everybody's talking about it. My best friend Mansi is reading it right now. She gave me a very frantic call at 2 in the morning saying, oh my God, read it. So I think I'm going to read that next.
Okay. I'm going to stop talking because I think you have a full audience who would like to ask you many questions. So can we open it up to some audience Q&A for the last 10 minutes or so that we have of this session?
Could we send a mic in the
Yes,
audience?
I think there should be. They're just getting.
Thank you so much. You're loud enough? Tell me your name. Thank you. What's your name? Shubham. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you. I really hope I come back.
With the sequel.
With a
With
I don't think it's a sequel.
Okay. Second book.
Yeah, second book. Yeah. Yeah, I think later, 100%.
Can we have the lady in the white? Right here, second row.
Hi, you're doing
Hello.
lovely work.
Thank you.
And I can see you're a youth icon, of course. You're following also. I'm a mother of a young girl, and I
Hello.
would like to know.
I didn't get your name, I'm sorry.
My name is Shelja.
Shelja, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So, how do you deal with rejection and criticism? Because I feel being a girl in India isn't an easy job till now. So, how did you deal in past? How do you deal it now?
Criticism, I think eventually as I've grown older, also the fact that I've been putting myself out there for almost a decade now, I've grown to look forward to because it helps me. When it is perspective that's new, when it is a way of looking at a story that shows me how I could have worked around it, it helps me, honestly. Baseless hate is not worth anyone's time, honestly. I don't think... also, like I said, if I have a minute to spend, I'd much rather spend it on criticism and on comments that help me feel good about what I'm doing and give me the courage to continue doing it. I wouldn't waste a single minute on anything that doesn't help me grow. So baseless hate, I don't deal with. Rejection, in my case, I got accepted and then fired from a job that I thought I wanted to do all my life. But thank God, because if I had stayed there, I wouldn't be doing this. So I think eventually I've learned to find the reason for that to happen, and I've learned to trust the process. But yeah.
As they say, right? If a door closes, a window opens.
100%,
So,
yeah. Thank you, Shelja.
Can we have... wow. Can we have the gentleman with the... Yes, right there. Yeah.
Hi Prajakta.
Hello.
This is Chitransh Kaushik here.
Hi,
I have one
Chitransh.
question for you, but before that I would request you, would you please allow me to give me 2 minutes so that I can tell you something?
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm your big fan.
Thank you.
And big congratulations to your book.
Thank you.
And I became your fan since the day I watched one of those videos you used to make, Thursday videos, right?
Yeah.
I'm your big fan, ma'am. I love you.
Thank
and
you,
ma'am, there's
Chitra.
another person whom I'm a big to infinite times big fan of. And you too love him, you adore him. And I think you know who am I talking about. I'm talking about Hrithik Roshan.
Ah.
Man, I love that man. He's like everything to me. He's like a god to me. I
He
love
looks
him
like
so
one
much.
too.
Yeah. He's Greek god. And you won't believe, when I saw him for the very first time on Ik Pal Ka Jeena, me and my family, we used to watch Chitrahar at that point in time. So when I saw him, I was like, who is this guy? How can anyone talk like this? Dance like this? So I became his fan since then. And my
Sorry, can we have you ask the
Yeah.
question? Just because there are a lot of people waiting.
Yeah.
As much as we want to hear about Hrithik, and we're
Yes,
all
okay,
fans
okay,
here,
okay.
but we just love
So
to hear
my
the question. Thank
question
you.
basically was, did you ever think that you would write one book that you have written now. And while you were writing this book, what did you have on your mind? Is it gonna sell in big numbers, or it's not gonna sell in big numbers? That's the
I never thought I would write a book. No, like I said, I didn't think of it. It's too daunting a thought also. And I wasn't the number. The only numbers I was thinking was the number of words, because I kept counting. I kept counting words and pages. I said, oh, 100 pages ही लिखे इतने दिन से. Only 120 pages. So इतनी तो समझ ही नहीं थी कि यहाँ तक पहुँचे कि बिकेंगे कितने. So yeah.
So for
Thank
all
you,
of you in the
Chikraj.
audience to know, minimum for a book is 80,000 words, right? Like, what did you finish this at? 60, 80?
I don't know. I'm on 307 pages.
Yeah,
Paulami,
which is more than
Can we
80,000.
all just cheer for Paulami? She's my editor. She's right there from HarperCollins. She's the best. Paulami, how many words were mine? 85,000.
So, which is a lot of words.
Lot of words,
A lot of words. Can we have someone wherever you can reach? This lady in the beige in the front row.
Okay, we'll do this and then we can send the mic down
Yeah.
there.
Hi, Prajakta. My name is Simar. I'm
Hi,
from
Simar.
Hyderabad.
Hello.
I started reading after seeing your Tuesday videos where you recommended Set on You and Spanish Love Deception. And I have gone down a rabbit hole.
Join the club, my friend.
Thanks to you, I have joined it. And I just wanted to say thank you. I've been following you since many years and I'm a great fan.
Thank
I
you.
don't have any questions.
Thank you, Simar. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can we give it
Yeah.
there?
One second. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
I'm from Egypt. I
Hello.
just came just for to see you and I
From Egypt?
Yes.
Once again. No. You came from Egypt just for this, or you came?
No, I am from Egypt and I am here. Once I came to you, you are here. I just worked for you only.
What's your name? Huh? Samar?
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Samar.
Yes, sadly. Go.
Hi, Prajakta. I'm Palak.
Hi, Palak.
Namna Mami loves you. And I want to just say, ki please, we want more of Aman, please.
More of
More of
Aman?
Aman.
Yes.
Hi,
The second book is
It's
written.
Preeti here. Apart from books, I love your raps on your music video on YouTube. Like, no offense and that. I just love this.
Shameless. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Guys,
you so
can
much.
we
Thank
please,
you.
just a request, can we just
Thank
please
you.
ask questions? Because you have this audience, this is a great time to ask Prajakta about the work that she does. So if we could please, that girl in the beige, yes.
What were you saying? You're calling me Dimple. Oh, okay. I was like, what is the word? Hi. Sorry. Hi, what's your name?
Hi Prajakta, my name is Hitiksha.
Sorry?
My name is Hitiksha.
Hitiksha, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Firstly, I want to say I'm really very, very mesmerized. You are just so, so beautiful. And coming to the question,
Thank you.
we have seen your transition firstly from a content creator to an influencer and then an actor, and now you have beautifully emerged as a writer. So my question is, which one is your favorite transformation?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
I don't think I ever moved from being a creator. I think I've always been a creator. Every form of expression that I've had diversified as I kept trying new things, but I don't think I ever stopped being a creator. What is my favorite transformation? That's what I'm saying. I don't think I've transformed. I'm
She's just adding on layers.
I'm just trying newer things,
Yeah.
I think. But
Do you
doesn't
have a
take
favorite
away-
medium? Do you, because you know you're on obviously on our phones, you're on screen, now you're in the pages of a book, you know.
Right
You have-
now, I think I'm obsessed with the fact that there's a book.
There's a book. There's
Yeah.
a physical book.
A physical
Are
book.
you a physical reader? I know you mentioned you had a Kindle too.
No,
or do you-
I mean, I have my phases, but most of the time I'm on a Kindle.
You're on a Kindle. Makes it much more efficient
Yeah.
and easier. Okay, can we have someone this side, this gentleman? You have a question, I hope. Yes.
Thank you.
That young boy.
Hello, hi,
Hi.
Prajakta. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, I'm doing well. My name is Ayush.
Hi, Ayush.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So my question was that did you sketch out your characters before you wrote the book, or did they come to you like while you were writing the narrative?
I did sketch them out when I was
Okay.
because that was the only prep I did. I just knew how my story starts. I knew the meet cute and I knew how it ends. I've kind of bridged that gap as I've gone chapter to chapter. But the one thing that I also find that the most exciting about writing stories is that I love working on my character backstories. Although there are a few discrepancies here and there. I don't know if you all picked it up. There's a couple of things here and there. I really hope you don't. But I have extensively kind of worked on the lives of their stories. Thanks,
Could you see
Ayush.
yourself setting the book anywhere but Bombay? I know you live in Bombay. And
I actually never lived in Bombay.
Oh, you
I'm
never-
from Thane, which is
Okay.
a small suburb outside of Bombay. So I've actually looked at Bombay with rosy eye shades all the time. I've always looked at Bombay as a very, very aspirational city where anything can happen. And that is the lens I wanted to have
on
with
this
Avni's character because she's also from Pune.
Pune, yeah.
So I've never really lived in Bombay, but I don't think I could have set it up anywhere else.
Anywhere else. And do you think any of your follow future books? Do you see yourself
I
setting?
have a place for the future book, but it's not Bombay.
Okay. Well, we look forward to reading it. Okay. I think we have
The next name of the book?
theme.
Next theme? I'm not telling you that now. Jaipur? No.
Can we go a little bit in the back? And yeah, that lady in the red. Just because she's standing up, I could see her.
I love you. Thank you.
Hi, Prajakta.
Hi.
I'm still shivering. I actually came all the way from Gurgaon to Jaipur just to see you.
Thank
And,
you.
Yeah, I really love you. And I would like to mention one thing.
Tell me your name first so I'll know
My
you.
name is Sheetal.
Sheetal. Nice to meet you.
Same here. I am not able to process this moment right now, but I'll straight, head to this question. So, in the delicate dance between dreams and reality, what moment in writing Too Good to Be True made you pause, reflect, and wonder if this story was truly your own or a world you had secretly wished into existence?
Wow.
I was honestly, every day that I was writing, I was so panicked that I never thought and I never sat down and felt like, oh, let me reflect or like, this is making me feel a certain way. But I remember giggling like a schoolgirl when I wrote this chapter called Elephant. It's that chapter in my book. And when I was writing the final chapter, feeling very, very emotional, knowing that it had there was relief, there was finally ending, and I had found a way that I liked that it ended as. And two, just also feeling a little bit of separation with these two characters that I'd lived with for so long. So yeah, I think that.
Also, I would like to mention one more thing and the last thing. So, when I started reading this book, this is the first book in my life that I read 90 plus pages in one go.
I'm so glad, dude. Thank you.
I
That's the
really
best
wish
thing
you
an author can hear.
all the best.
Thank you, Sheetal. Thank
Did
you
you
so much.
Did you struggle with any particular scene in the book? Like, did you
Yeah,
find
the
one
spicy
challenging?
one.
The spicy ones.
Yeah, because as much as I love reading smut, I realized I can't write it. I'm too shy.
And also, it's very awkward. We have one last question. Yes. Yeah. Do you want to? Well, no, you don't. The girl in the black leather jacket, please. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Best of luck.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Sania. I'm
Hi,
so good
Sanya.
to see you.
Thank you. It's so good to meet you.
My question is, how did you balance your creative pursuits with the demands of social media and content creation?
My creative pursuits are social media and content creation, so that makes it very easy for me. That's why I feel very fortunate that my job is also happens to be something that I'm very, very passionate about. So, which is why there's never a day when I don't want to go to work. So I love it. I absolutely love it. So there was no balancing. It all kind of flows together. Thank you, Sanya.
It's interesting because if you ask most writers now, they tell you that the most distracting thing is social media. And these are two worlds that you straddle. Like, these are two very big parts of your life now. But for most people, it's a rabbit hole that,
I also think that there is a certain kind of discipline, actually even as creators and as consumers, that you need to put to your surfing skills. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like you surf the app. Don't let the app surf
Surf
you.
you.
Like I don't understand the whole concept of I need a digital detox. Why did you push yourself till then? You
Yeah.
were voluntarily going now on that
Yeah.
app. So I feel like that is something that you need to rein in for yourself also.
App blockers. That's
Yeah.
what I do. Okay, I think we are going to wrap the session up. Do we have time for one more question? One
Do
more
we
question?
have time for one more question?
One last
Yeah?
question.
Yeah, we do. Just
right
one
here.
more question?
One last, yeah.
We have
5
5 minutes. So let's
Okay.
say we.
So
Okay.
let's keep it brief, guys.
Yeah, if we can quickly ask questions, let's do 5 questions.
Okay.
Prajakta, can I get an autograph of you?
100%. We'll do it at the book signing. 100%. Oh, that's you. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, Prajakta
Hi.
ma'am.
What's your name?
Bhavishya.
Hi, Bhavishya.
My question for you is that as an all-rounder, how do you deal with procrastination?
Very good question. I also want to know this answer.
I think just get you a team that can push your buttons, that really knows what. Like I know Gurpreet, who is my mentor, a very close friend, also a very important part of my team. There are days when if I'm lacking and it's purely because of procrastination, and he knows, there will be a phone call that will come to me which will very much be like, it's तो ठीक है, जितना कर लिया है लाइफ में उतना काफ़ी है, और कुछ करने की तो ज़रूरत है नहीं, नैप ले लो, कोई बात नहीं, पैसे कमाने हैं नहीं, ब्रांड को वापस करनी है नहीं स्क्रिप्ट. सो जब ऐसा कोई बोले ना तो लगता है अच्छा ठीक है यार कर दियो. So I think just get these people. My parents are very important players in this because they'll always make sure. I'm also very, very lazy, which is also why I like my job to be a little dynamic, because if it was just one thing, I would be worse.
My mother sitting in the audience and laughing because she does this to me all the time. So basically, surround yourself. If it's your team, your family, any support system who continue to push you to do better. Sorry, next question, because
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Myself Divyanshi.
Hi,
I was
Divyanshi.
been waiting for a lot to ask a question. My question is that what parameters or aspects you seek at before writing, like things that the writer or author should remember before adding new content.
Can you say that again?
My question is that what parameters or aspects you seek at before writing, like things that the writer or author should remember before adding new content.
like she's kind of saying like how do you push a storyline forward? How do you, right? Am I right? Yeah, how do you keep it going? Because it's 80,000 words or, a bunch of different videos. How do you keep that inspiration to keep yourself flowing and be authentic?
Can I tell you what I realized when I was writing and putting a lot of pressure on myself with the word count, with the page count, with how many chapters do I want to do? Do I want to do an epilogue? All of that. I realized that at that point, anytime I was reading anything, my reaction to it in my head only was like, who will read this? Why will anyone read this? This is not nice. And this was the first few weeks in, and that's when I realized that I think if I have to keep going, I have to be kinder to myself because it's my first book. There is no way I will know how anyone's going to react to anything I've written unless I publish this book. So whether I like anything or I don't like anything, this is a rite of passage that I have to go through, so I'll know better for the next one. So I think as an author, this has been my, so strange to say as an author.
As an author.
This has been my biggest learning, that anytime I create something, I'm going to be kinder to myself, at least in my head. Does that answer your question?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but we have to wrap up. But I think the 3 biggest takeaways for this was writers panic, but writers need discipline, and, be moderate in your use of social media, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. Thank you, Prajakta. It was so lovely
Thank you,
speaking with
Priyanka.
you.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations on the success
Thank
of this
you.
book.
Thank you. Can you, I want to click a picture with you all. Do you all want to just be, okay. Perfect. First, can you just make a lot of noise for my vlog? Thank you. Okay, I'm getting a selfie. Thank you. Also, yes, I'm doing a book signing. So I'm going to see you there.
Not yet.
Yeah, now I do. Hi, I don't remember your name though. Nice to meet you.
All right, everybody, let's show some love to Prajakta Koli and Priyanka Khanna for a truly wonderful session.